Today, we launch our welfare reform bill. It brings about the most ambitious, fundamental and radical changes to the welfare system since it began. And at the heart of this bill is a simple idea. Never again will work be the wrong financial choice. Never again will we waste opportunity. We're finally going to make work pay, especially for some of the poorest people in our society.
Don't believe what they say. They will make you pay. They've got to where they want to. They've got to where they want to. In my life, there are things I have seen that I don't like. Misery, poverty.
Millionaires and multi-millionaires who went to Eton, who they are a different class to us. This is the government of the rich and of big business destroying what I would call the social wage.
50% of the Conservative Party's funding comes from the city. 23 of the cabinet are millionaires. The very people who are pushing these cuts know they're not going to be affected by them.
All these people in power over there, what do we call them, a coalition of millionaires? Why do we call them a coalition of millionaires? Because most of them have friends in the city, they actually earn millions and all of that.
They're defending the rich and they're attacking the poor. And this is, you know, the Tories are actually showing what they're really all about. They're starting to show their teeth. And actually I would say, right, we have to resist them. We have to start fighting back because thousands upon thousands of people are going to be impacted by this.
Who benefits?
We're going to see a move to a whole new system called universal credit. That's being piloted at the moment, and over the next few years it will be rolled out to more groups and replace a lot of the current benefits.
And that means that there's a cap on the amount of money that any one household can claim in benefits. Now your housing costs, if you claim housing benefit, are part of that. And for instance, as we know in London, rents are enormously high, they're increasing significantly, and it may be that if you are a larger family in London claiming housing benefit, your rent will either push you over the benefit cap or will leave you with practically no money to feed your family and, you know, look after yourself.
I think part of the housing benefit cap that's tied in with it, because you get people on new tenancies in, you know, there's no social housing anymore. It doesn't exist. It's this affordable housing that doesn't exist anyway. That's not affordable.
A nice bit of social cleansing.
Families are going to be driven out of inner London by changes to welfare, particularly housing benefit.
What has become known as the bedroom tax has been introduced, and people realise that it could be affecting them. I mean, for example, one of my constituents whose daughter is at university, now as we all know, if you're in full-time university education you can claim no benefits. So because they live in a two-bedroom flat and her daughter is away at university, her mother is having now, I think it's to pay, I can't remember whether it's £12 or £14 a week additionally.
So the whole thing's a con because they don't have the staff who can deal with all of this for a start, and then they don't have the housing to actually move people anyway.
We're protesting the bedroom tax and all the cuts because they particularly affect people of colour. We're already on the lowest wages. We're working hard. We're often immigrants. We have made a big contribution to this country, and we have a right to benefit services, resources, and that's why we're on this march today.
They just want to tax people in council properties so that they can get a bit more money and then eventually cleanse the areas so that they all become yuppified, like Clapham and places like that.
What do you think? Well, I mean, I'm just looking at it. There's a lot of people, it's a good turnout. Everyone's saying they can't pay, they won't pay, they want to add the bedroom tax, so we'll see how it goes from here.
They're taxing our disabled children and kicking us out of the bedrooms that they gave us for their disabled needs. We are not going to pay this bedroom tax. We are not going to pay it. This is a democracy, and this is what democracy looks like.
Thank you very much. Who benefits?
Can he look me in the eye and tell me he is proud of the decision to remove all disability benefits from a 10-year-old child who can hardly walk, who cannot toilet herself because she has cerebral palsy? Is he truly proud?
This government is not cutting the money that's going into disability benefits. We're replacing disability living allowance with the personal independence payment. And as someone who's actually filled out the form for disability living allowance and had a child with cerebral palsy, I know how long it takes to fill in that form. We're going to have a proper medical test so people who are disabled, who need that help, get it more quickly.
The government's built a system that people have come to rely on. And now they pull the funding out, and you know, people are cracking up out there.
In the old days, a professional doctor would examine your case. These days, a bureaucrat from Atos decide whether it's thumbs up or thumbs down. And basically, they've been told to make it thumbs down. People were very depressed by this. A few people committed suicide because they couldn't cope with the new regime, the new regulations, which were forced on them. You know, a lot of these people have mental health issues.
It's just becoming so obvious now, whereas before it was kind of hidden a little bit. It's like blatant now. It's blatant. They just want to, you know, they're just killing people. And I've already known people who've indirectly, you know, they've died and stuff. And it's not because of a cut, but it's because it's affected their lives, their mental health, their emotional health.
The doctor's convinced that I should be in hospital now on a section, which I'm fighting. And I'm saying it's because, you know, you try and, you know, go a couple of weeks without food. It takes its toll. There's no gas at the moment, and the gas is gone. The electric's on direct debit, so that's run up a bill of nearly 3 weeks now. It's all been the cuts, but in the meantime, it's a starving bill. Been given one of these.
And what is that?
Which is a food bank voucher to go and get food. Never had one before. I don't even know what it's worth or what it consists of. I don't like to ask for anything, but in times we must. I got cornflakes, pasta, milk, beans, more beans, and a soup, and a tin of tomatoes. They said that'd last 3 days. With the voucher, you're entitled to go twice within a year, which I found a bit ironic.
Twice within a year?
Within a year for the same voucher.
So you can use the same voucher twice?
Yeah.
So you... hold on. You can only use that voucher twice, but that food will only last you for 3 days?
Yes.
Who benefits? I would say there is an imbalance in terms of how people on benefits are perceived compared to the reality.
When you have a government which is constantly attacking working class people in this country, just look at, for example, when George Osborne attempted to link welfare reform to the case of Mick Philpott, who famously killed his own children in a house fire. And so they take particular extreme instances of very nasty individuals and attempt to tar an entire group of people in the country by association. Which, if it happened the other way around, if you found a millionaire who'd done something bad and attempted to say that all millionaires were the same, you know, you'd be laughed out of court. And so there's a whole language of disrespect and contempt coming from the government.
The government has been very clever, in my opinion, in employing what I would define as black propaganda. They have certainly managed to convince the country, it seems to me, that the majority of people who have a justifiable claim on benefits are actually lazy and work shy. That simply isn't true.
The people who are pushing these cuts are a tiny minority at the top, and their strategy is to divide everybody else, to turn people against each other, to blame immigrants, to blame scroungers on benefits.
We keep hearing all the time this idea that we have some kind of entitlement culture, and that there's a lot of people that are just lazy or fiddling the system. When you look at how much fraud, the official figures for how much fraud that there is in the benefit system, it's really, it's actually at its lowest ever recorded level. And when you compare it to how much money is lost to the public purse through tax fraud and tax dodging, well, that's an awful lot higher and really should be much more of a priority.
For instance, we know that an enormous percentage of the benefit bill is actually attributable to the state pension, and nobody's suggesting we should cut that.
We're not even in debt. We bailed out the bankers. Why don't they give us our money back?
The question that you've asked is much bigger in a sense, and this is a question that no one really, in my opinion, is looking at in any kind of seriousness.
Who benefits? Who benefits? Who benefits?
How do we create a sustainable working economy that is going to be sustainable for the future? The old one didn't work.
I think we need to start really organising. I think we need to get trade unionists together with unemployed people. We need to get young people together with pensioners. We need to start building a grand organisation, coalition, mobilise and support each other.
If people realise that actually we are all in this together, as George Osborne liked to say, we are all in this together apart from that tiny 1% at the top who are benefiting from these changes, then and if we come together, then we can make that change and we can stop these cuts and create the kind of society we want to see.
I think that there is a growing will there, really, to move away from this kind of consumeristic and materialistic culture that's been demanded of us by how our economy works, and shift to a different kind of economy that serves the priorities that we cherish most, that are about the quality of our lives, the hours we have to spend with our family, to spend with our friends, the security that we have in our homes and in our lives, that the evidence shows it is best found in community together rather than in competition against each other.
The future is out there. Now you can't fly over it, you can't tunnel under it, you can't avoid it. It's going to be out there, and it's how we fit ourselves and our country for that future that is central and essential.
We built a welfare state because of ordinary people standing up and demanding it. That's how we got the NHS and the welfare state in the first place, and so that can happen again.
And although the human condition can be changed and improved, I think, we will never change human nature. So things like greed, selfishness, dishonesty, all those basic human characteristics are not going to disappear. But it must be possible, given everything we know, everything we've been through. I would have thought by now we had to acknowledge, as human beings, that every human being is valuable, whether they know it or whether they don't, that there has to be that acknowledgement that we are where we are, because at certain points we've all worked together.
Worst case scenario, I'll be homeless in a couple of months, or in a hospital, which then that starts the process of all over again, living in halfway houses for years, waiting on the waiting list. You know, this just took me years to get this flat, going through the system.
Who benefits?
Who benefits?
Who benefits?
Awareness to conviction. Fight all your eviction. Don't feed a big machine. It's called eviction. Government restriction. Spare a thought for your children. Does your politician leave? It's called resistance.
Yeah, Dainjida, the roads. You know it's grim and it's harsh. Watch for the spies in the dark. Guard your heart.
I get no sleep on my bed of thorns. I'm the opposite of when you was born, brothers mourn. If I pull out the sword, you're heading off to the morgue. Am I destined to blow the sword off through your wall, or just roll with no concern for it all, or just watch the roads and learn from it all? I'm the master of my own universe and my armor. Form my shield only penetrated by my karma, but I can feel the hatred. So if I'm aggravated, vexated, it becomes another deadly saga. Listen, dog, I bite, you were just a barker. You can't stop my mission like monkey and trip it darker. And the night's getting longer, the day's getting darker. Watch the shadows move in the light, they want your heart cuts. It's best you walk with the father from the start flood. Those who don't hear